Amanda Podgers.
And I'm Keith Norval.
And we are here in our painting studio. We're both painters here in Raleigh. This is an example of something that I painted, and it's kind of like an abstract house. You can see it's really colorful. I like to paint with oil paints.
And here's one of mine. This one is also an oil painting, so you can see it's like an owl family. And I like to do really simple geometric shapes and then like have fun playing around with the brushwork and building up the paint colors.
So we are here today to show you guys how to mix your colors and do your little part for the horse mural, the Mustang mural at Martin. Okay, so if you have a bag between the numbers 300 and 423, that is the palette group we're working with now. So the idea with this mural is to have a color shift start on this side and have the colors shift and change and kind of run together all the way through. So you guys with this palette will be this first section of the mural here. So each person who does this is going to do it differently. So some of them are going to look more yellow, some are going to look more green. And so we're going to arrange them so they kind of shift from yellow green over to green when we arrange them on the mural. So when you get ready to paint, remember that these are acrylic paints and they will stain your clothes and they will mess up your furniture. So if you don't have like a painting table like we do, you may want to put down some newspaper or some plastic or something to protect your table. You're going to want a jar for water with your brushes. You're going to want a paper towel nearby to clean your brushes with. And then you can use, if you want to mix some colors, you're going to need like a palette. You can use a lid or like any kind of plastic thing or tin foil. Any kind of recyclable will work for a palette. So for this first style, I am going to be inspired by Miro. So this is Miro's painting. If you guys remember, he had the fun and kind of childlike designs. So this is the artist that I'm looking to for this style. Okay, so in your palette you have yellow ochre, you have cad yellow light, and you've got a green color. So one thing you can do to make a really cool color is get a lot of this light yellow and then come in and just barely touch your brush to this green, just like a dab, and mix that in, and you're gonna get a really light lime green color. That's really nice. So I'm gonna start with this for my background color. So I have some tape here. If your Tyvek is sliding around on you while you're trying to paint, you can tape it down before you get started. It's probably a good idea. So this color isn't fully mixed, so you're gonna see some streaks here a little bit. Okay, so you guys noticed in Miro's backgrounds, he kind of had like kind of soft, you know, color transitions. And so I'm gonna get some of this yellow ochre now and paint some in and just kind of like fade it into the green like this, just to create like a little bit of color variation. And I may do the same thing with the yellow over here. Actually, let me wash my brush out first because that yellow ochre was still in there. Okay, so get some yellow and just kind of like blend that into the green a little bit, just to create some variation in the background. And then maybe some more green up here and through here. So that gives me kind of a nice background. And so now you want to switch down to your smaller brush, and this is where you can do some fun shapes. Like Miro had these kind of circles. He did a lot of like kind of sunbursts. whatever kind of shapes you do, just remember to keep it abstract. We don't want to do words and letters and stuff like that, because for the mural that's not going to really work out. So he had just some like some skinny lines and some just different cool shapes, and you can kind of just use your imagination on this one and come up with some stuff. Okay, and so once you get some lines drawn and some shapes drawn, then you can, if you want to, you can go back in with some pure like yellow and paint in the middle of some of these shapes with that color, or with any color that stands out a little bit. Like I might do this part too. Yellow. And then I might come in with this yellow, this yellow ochre color, and paint in some more shapes. And it's okay if it mixes with the outline a little bit too. That's kind of nice. And then maybe I'll come back in with some green and like blend it a little bit. Do some dots. Okay, so yeah, so that's my interpretation of a Miro piece.
So for my piece, I'm using Chuck Close as the artist for my inspiration. So I'm gonna do a lot of cool little small shapes that create a bigger piece. Okay, so I'm gonna tape this my tie back down with some masking tape, just so it won't move all over the place. So I think I'm gonna tape the edges down. And then with the Chuck Close piece, he had like kind of a grid that made up some, like the smaller shapes that made a bigger composition. So what I will do with mine is I think I'll probably use this, like this medium yellow, and sort of just do a grid. Don't worry about making this perfect. So, you know, with your grid, you can do it diagonal, you can do it more up and down, more like Minecraft. Okay, and then I'm gonna start filling in with some shapes. Okay, so at this point, I think I'll switch to different colors. So I will mix some of this green, and then before you get your yellow, you always want a clean brush, if you can, so you can get it without mixing your green into your yellow, because then your whole yellow will turn green. Okay, so then I think switch over to the yellow. So if you guys have a paper towel, you can use that to blot your brush, which is helpful when you're changing colors. So now I'm going back in and I'm sort of, like some of these lines, I'm fixing them a little bit. Try to refine it. And then this, I think I'll just fill in and then maybe go back with my other color. So I know this is kind of a limited palette that you guys are working with. So I'm gonna try to mix, see if I mix this green with some of this ochre, the darker yellow. Just to get a different color. I think that looks good. More like a army green. Okay, and then I think I'll come with just this pure green. And if you get a little color blending on there, that's all right. It's kind of nice to get some different colored brush strokes. Okay, and then I'll go back. So you guys, you know, I'm kind of going quickly, but you guys you can take your time with these shapes, and you know, if you want to let it dry, let your painting dry, and then go back into it and add more to it. And if you want, you can also leave a little bit of that white showing through. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good. So remember, you can either do this palette for this project, or you can watch any of the other videos for inspiration. Or if you want to come up with your own thing, since you guys have this limited palette, everything will work in, you know, with that one background.